Have you ever wondered what is the real cost of doing the right thing? If you are honest, how much have you sacrificed for your morals? And if you could change it all, would you still stand by the choices you made? Welcome to our channel, where today we will be looking at the shocking cost of morality. This is the story of Cesare Borgia, a man who sold his soul to the devil for power and wealth. No, not that kind of deal. He already had those. He was born into the royal family in 1475 and became the Duke of Valencia in Spain at a young age. But he wanted more than just his father's duchy. He wanted to rule over all of Italy. To do this, he needed an army. One day, while walking through the forest, he came across a group of men practicing sword fighting. They were members of a secret society dedicated to overthrowing the tyrannical Medici regime in Florence. Borgia saw an opportunity to gain both power and popularity by supporting their cause. He joined the group and helped them overthrow the Medici, earning the title of Most High Lord of Florence. But soon after, the Pazzi family, who had lost power in the Medici's downfall, exacted their revenge. Their plot failed, but they managed to assassinate Borgia's father and brother. Now consumed with rage and grief, he left Florence and assembled an army, then returned to the city and slaughtered every last member of the Pazzi family. This act of violence demonstrated his ruthlessness and solidified his reputation as a tyrant. Throughout his conquests, he maintained a close relationship with Pope Alexander VI, who granted him the title of Vicegerent of God. Despite being considered a godsend by some, Borgia was reviled by others, particularly monks who saw him as an anti-Christian. They accused him of murdering friars and desecrating churches. One time, he was so frustrated by a group of friars refusing to leave his property, he locked them inside their church, set it on fire, and burned them alive. As he continued his reign of terror across Italy, his enemies spread rumors about his supposed illegitimate children, which caused Alexander VI to excommunicate him. However, he continued to defy the church and even captured the city of Rome, naming himself Duke of Rome. There he built one of the most opulent palaces in history, filled with treasures stolen from other Italian states. It was here that he lived out the remainder of his life, surrounded by his fortune and influence, until his death in 1507. Cesare Borgia's life was a whirlwind of power, ambition, and excess. While he may have been seen as a hero by some for bringing down oppressive regimes, he was also responsible for some of the most heinous acts of violence and cruelty. His story raises questions about the nature of good and evil, as well as the price one is willing to pay to achieve their goals. Now, let's answer the question, what was the shocking cost of morality for Cesare Borgia? After reading his story, you might think that someone like him could never truly repent. And perhaps that's true, but consider the following. We often hear phrases like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and Cesare Borgia's actions can be seen as an example of this. He started out with the best of intentions, wanting to help the oppressed and bring down the tyrants. However, his methods were brutal and his ultimate goals were selfish. In the end, he amassed great wealth and power for himself, leaving a trail of destruction and death in his wake. So what was the cost of his morality? Was it worth it in the end? It's hard to say. For Cesare Borgia, the cost of his morality was likely the loss of his soul. He was branded a monster during his lifetime, and his legacy has only grown darker with time. Even his supporters have difficulty reconciling his atrocities with any sense of goodness. Machiavelli's hidden truth is that there is no free lunch. For Cesare Borgia, his quest for power and glory came at a steep cost. He sacrificed the lives of countless innocents, abandoned alliances, and committed unspeakable acts of cruelty. In the end, he was left alone, hated and feared by all. In the pursuit of the greater good, Cesare Borgia did many horrible things. He murdered, tortured, and burned people alive without remorse. However, despite his actions, he is often portrayed as a hero. This is because he fought against oppression and tyranny, standing up for the rights of the people. He was also a brilliant military strategist and tactician, skilled in diplomacy and able to inspire loyalty in his followers. Despite his dark side, Cesare Borgia remains an iconic figure in history, a reminder that even the greatest heroes have their flaws. In the game of geopolitics, there are no clear-cut heroes or villains, only players with different levels of power and cunning. Cesare Borgia was a master player in this game, knowing when to strike and when to feign weakness. He was feared by his enemies and respected by his peers, even as he amassed a fortune and forged alliances that would secure his legacy. But behind closed doors, he was a ruthless dictator, willing to do whatever it took to maintain his power. It is important to remember that history is written by the victors and often shaped by those with the most power and influence. Cesare Borgia was a pawn in the larger game of international politics, used and manipulated by those around him. While he may have achieved great things, it's important to remember that he also committed atrocities that should not be ignored or forgotten. So what was the shocking cost of morality? For Cesare Borgia, the cost of his morality was immeasurable. His quest for power and glory came at a steep price, sacrificing the lives of countless innocents and staining his soul forever. However, his story also reminds us that even the greatest heroes have their flaws and that history is often shaped by those with the most power and influence. Ultimately, Cesare Borgia's legacy serves as a cautionary tale for those who seek power and reminds us of the importance of staying true to our morals and ethics no matter the cost. And now it's time to hear from you. What do you think? Was the cost of Cesare Borgia's morality worth it? Let us know in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed this look into the life of one of history's most infamous figures and the hidden truths behind his actions. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks for watching.